Okay, so this is exciting because we have here our exhaust fan here. This is new for me. I've never put one of these in before, and we're going to be putting one in here. And we're going to pull out all the pieces here, find out what's what and who's who on putting this thing together. Now, the good thing is originally, this was a mistake I made because I thought it was a downdraft stove, but it wasn't. But I'm looking right now and feeling like we actually have it made because my joists are 16 on center, and I've got one right here. That means the next one is about right here. So it's actually close to where we need it to be to support the hood. I'm hoping that it lines up. Now, this was the light fixture that we had put up here, or we were gonna put a light fixture up here, but it ended up being that we realized we needed to put a hood. So I'll end up cutting a space over in here. I'll have to patch it up to put some blocking to tie it off, but we'll be able to cut this out and use that and make our outlet to go ahead and power the unit. So I'm going to unpack this thing and get to work on it. This is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting, and I can't wait to get this on. Now, I've already gone through. First thing I've done is I've wet my walls. I should go through and sand these doors because these are the other cabinet doors that I need in here so my wife can get those painted. But I'm kind of anxious to see what this looks like. Now, I am going to have to put a hole through the roof. I'm going to put a hole through the roof on the sucker so that way we can run the vent up to the top of it. So I'm going to have to see exactly what I need to do that, and that's where I'm going to open this up first, get it out of the box, see what parts I need as far as the roof vent, see if, oh, okay, so we actually have flex duct in here. That's good to see. Okay, that's a good start. And that looks like the charcoal filters, because you can do this as a recirculator. And there it is. So this is the box covering. So you can end up having this hang down as low as you want. I'm not going to need to have it hang down quite that low, but we'll see. And you see, oh, look at it. See, look, it's curved glass right there. It's 36 inches, so it's going to go 3 inches past where our stove is. And I think I want it about this high, so that way I can, you know, I got to make sure David Wiley can get his head underneath of it. I got to make sure David Wiley can get his head underneath of it. This is thrilling for me. Okay, so we've had to make a little bit of a mess in here to get this in place. We had the light fixture right here that was here. We're taking that out. We're going to go ahead and close that up, which will be great. We'll have to mud and tape it. And here's what we're going to do is we're going to actually take our plate that's going to go up here like this for the vent. We're going to drill a hole in here so that way we can put our plug to plug this thing in right there. So it'll be easy access to it. So I have to cut a hole into this for the electric box. Now, here's what we also did. Because we're in between the joists, we ended up, the reason I cut this hole was so that way I can make the connection up here for the ductwork. But we've mounted this 2x4 between the two of those to be able to screw on. One side of it's going to be screwed directly to this. The other side is going to be off here in space, but we want to make sure that we have a nice strong holding for holding this thing up. So I'm going to screw it from this side, which is another one of the reasons why we ended up opening up here, and we can patch this up even though it's in place. And we're going to be able to screw in here at 45 and put a couple of screws in there to lock it in place. So we know that this sucker is not going to go anywhere. And the rest of this actually looks pretty easy because we'll screw this right up here. We'll go up here just like this, okay? And then what happens is you have these corner pieces that are over there that are attached and screwed in here to the corners. And then the unit itself will slide right into that and go up on it. Now, the nice thing is there's an inner and an outer piece for this. So it's made that if you do have a real tall ceiling, you can actually have it hang down even lower. We don't have a real tall ceiling, so we're okay. Now, the vent itself, you can't see it from here, is actually a flexible piece that's going to go on there. Now, first I thought I was going to have to go through the roof with this, but I realized I have enough space if I go above the porch roof over this way. I can end up going above that porch roof and put a side vent on it, which is a lot less expensive, and then you don't have to worry about the roof penetration. So this isn't going to take me long to get this whole thing hooked up. And of course, we have our power off for this. What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, damn it, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you're having a better day than Quentin Bohannon and Jabril Cox. Because Jabril Cox, like we anticipated, has been cut by the Dallas Cowboys. Don't know if they have plans, because some of these guys, the plans will be to try and bring them back on the roster. So there is still hope for some of them to come back, or to be picked up by other teams. So Jabril Cox, was a guy that there was a lot of hype for, that we thought he was going to be, a really great linebacker for us. But unfortunately, sometimes it just does not pan out the way you think it's going to. And injuries became his biggest problem, because he ended up tearing his ACL, and he never seemed to be quite right. So we're keeping an eye out on who's being cut and who's staying and who's going right now. It sucks. I hate this time of year, man, because, you get used to these guys, you get the hype of the players, and you get to know them, and you hope that they do well. And unfortunately, it doesn't always work out that way. It just doesn't work out that way. So it is what it is. And there we go. It is what it is, and it's the life of an NFL player. Shit ain't easy. Shit ain't easy when you're cheesy, like Mark Holmes. All right, good people, I'm actually putting the hood up. We're getting the hood for the kitchen put in. David Wiley, your dream kitchen is coming together, buddy. It's coming together. All right, and let me say shout out to Miss Jackie, keeping me up to speed while I continue to work on this mother humper. All right, peace. All right, so here we are right now. What I have is the flexible vent, at least up in here, so I can make the connection and stuff and get that outside. Also, I've got my hangers in here. I've got the screws doubled up in here. I've got to tighten those things up. What we have to do here, though, is we actually have two pieces of chimney. So you have to use both of these. You have to hang this down, as they say, at least 100 millimeters So that way you can put the screws on it to hold it, and then slide the other piece down. The other piece gets tied to the top, the other one gets screwed on in here. So it's a whole system that has to happen for it. It's actually pretty easy to put together. You can see I've got my outlet that's on there, so what I'll need to do is I'll tighten these things up to make sure they're good and tight. You can see right there, I've got to get a little wrench, but I'm going to tighten those up. And then I'm going to put the 2 chimney pieces in there, and I will have just like a little piece to hold it in place until I can get this raised up in there. I'll call my bride to help me. But before I do that, I'll go ahead and put this on, put some duct tape with it, plug in the outlet, because once we put the chimney on, you can't get back into that space. If you had a taller ceiling, if you had a 9-foot or a 10-foot ceiling, you hang this down lower, then it's great because then you can have plenty of space to do that. But we don't have that here. Okay, so we got the inner chimney put in place. We got the vent put in there. You can see we got power on here because that works. So now we just have to raise this in place and then get screws, 8 screws all the way around on there. And then this little hook comes out and that drops it all in here. And that's it. Well, that, and I got to patch the ceiling and get the vent outside, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Here we go.
Which part am I doing?
You're putting the screws in it. Those screws right there. Okay, not too good. There you go. Get one on the other side. Over here. Over here. Over here. Right there. Slide up. Okay. Okay. Is it lined up?
I feel like it's too far. Oh, it's a different kind of screw.
Whew, okay. Yeah, the little ones are the ones for the top cover. And we got 4 more to do. Good job. Teamwork.
Yes.
There you go. Voila. So now I gotta patch the ceiling and get some touch-up paint for those screws. But it's right over where the stove goes. Okay, so there we have it. We have our vent hood.
So you're
got a clock.
cooking. Da-da-da.
Oh.
And you go, boop!
No, because the stove sits out like this far. Now, David Wadley, he gonna have a problem. But that ain't my problem. You get used to it. So, I wish it could be up a little higher, but the only way we could do that would be for us to try and cut these, and I'm not sure I want to try and cut those.
Oh, you mean these?
Yeah, cut the sheet. If we had a rondo, maybe. But yeah. And we might consider that in the future because we could always bring a rondo down and say, Rondo, we need you to cut that straight.
Well, technically, it's not going to get shown anyway because it's the one on the inside.
Both of them have to be cut though. So this one has to get cut, although this drops down in here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I could, but I'm not real good with it. So that would be.
It would just raise up a little bit into the little bitty bit right
Well, this would be down here, so you could, but like I said, Rondo can cut that stuff a lot straighter and everything else. So we could always do that later.
Yeah, if you wanted to raise it up.
If we want to raise it up, we'll see how it goes.
Here's what I do like.
What?
Very much. These are the lights I'll be using in the kitchen.
Oh, this is great lighting down here. Great task lighting. So, let's see what it looks like.
Yeah. You know I like light up stove.
The only bad thing about this is, when I'm doing my cooking, is it's right in my face.
No shit.
Yeah. So the camera will need to come up, or, yeah, oh well. So. Okay, there's different buttons. Maybe there's a top. Oh, clock. Okay. All right, we'll figure out the buttons and stuff on it later. You know, it's times like this that I realize that I might be crazy. It's almost midnight now. I've gone through and I started over with the 24 grit, then over 36 grit, and now 60 grit. So I need to go with over 80 and 100, and then I can varnish it. But I'm glad I did because this really got out some of the unevenness and the dark spots in there. It looks really good. Whew. Yeah, getting there.